Welcome to Combat Sports Talk, a podcast dedicated to UFC and Bellator discussion, the MMA community, and combat sports in general. This is our live UFC 239 recording broadcast. My name is Ryan Smith, and we are here with our double champ, George G-Money Stallworth. What's up?
Hey. I love your intros, man. You get me so hyped. I'm ready for this.
But it is International Fight Week. Why not? Why wouldn't we be super excited and ready to do this recording tonight? We got Diego Sanchez and Michael Chiesa getting ready to walk out, and we are going to see the first fight.
Dude, Diego is mean mugging right now from across the ring, looking crazy as ever. I love it.
All right, so we did a live broadcast, and we were talking about who our picks are. Since this fight's getting ready to get started, let's go ahead and restate our picks for the live recording. So go ahead. Who you got?
I'm going with Diego, man. I think he gets it done.
All right, well, I'm going with Michael Chiesa. I think that Diego Sanchez is on the sunset of his career, and we're going to see what happens when a bigger Michael Chiesa is going to wrap his arms around that neck.
And my boy Bruce Buffer in with the jacket right now. Oh my goodness,
that jacket looks like Will Smith back on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when he put it inside out. That's what it looks like. Oh my gosh,
Diego is scary, man.
You know what? This is one where I won't mind being wrong, because I was a Diego Sanchez fan back at Ultimate Fighter 1.
So, speaking of the Ultimate Fighter, both of these guys were Ultimate Fighter athletes.
Winners.
Yeah. Matter of fact, yeah, you're right. Chiesa did as well.
So, yeah, this is like Season 1 versus like Season 15.
Yeah.
So, this has got a lot of context to it, but at the end of the day, I really think that this is going to say whether or not Diego Sanchez is legitimately going to make one more run at a title. If he can get past Michael Chiesa, we'll give him some juice. But if he can't, then we might start saying, let's set it down.
At 37, I can understand why a lot of people feel that. But, dad bods are running it right now. And not only that, there's something to be said about old man strength.
He got it. Now, he is a 275-point underdog here, so he's a plus 275. So Vegas doesn't think he's going to get it done. If Vegas had heard his speech with Ariel Helwani, maybe they would think differently. I was fired up about that.
Dude, I don't even know what to say about that. Especially considering the recent shenanigans of Tony Ferguson. Mental health should really be an issue that we talk about sometime.
Yeah, all right. So, fight's getting ready to start. We'll be back with the results right after this. All right, so we are back with the results, and Michael, the Maverick Chiesa, defeats Diego, the Nightmare Sanchez, 30-26 by unanimous decision.
Absolutely dominating performance on Chiesa's behalf, man. Take him down, ground and pound, channeled his inner Luke Rockhold left and right. I mean, basically all he did was mount him in control. He went after several submissions, but I don't think he really was going after them. The one choke that I did see, the rear naked, he had it on the chin. Didn't work to get the chin up in order to get it under there. So yeah. I think he really just wanted to control and dominate that fight.
There were lots of opportunities that I saw that Diego Sanchez would lift his head up to look at the clock, and Chiesa just didn't seem to take advantage of that. I saw there were many opportunities where he should have, while Diego Sanchez is looking up, slide your arm underneath. You can get your position, but get your arm under there and start pulling him back. That rear naked check should have happened tonight. I'm disappointed that Chiesa didn't get it done because I called it. But like I said before, Diego Sanchez, if he couldn't get through this fight, and he was dominated from bell to bell, Diego needs to think about starting to shut this down.
I don't know. I mean, definitely Chiesa dominated the fight. I didn't see Diego take a lot of damage in terms of it. I saw this fight as strictly control, little ground and pound, fake a submission attempt here or there. I wouldn't say that this fight convinced me to say Diego needs to give it up.
Where does Diego go from here, though? Because when you start looking at the top of the division, I don't like Diego Sanchez versus anybody at the top of the division. You got Michael Chiesa who's on the outside.
I want to see Diego and Mike Perry.
Mike Perry is way too big for Diego Sanchez.
I'm just saying.
I mean, I would love to see Mike Perry lose, but I don't think it's going to happen with Diego Sanchez.
I'm just saying. I think that would be a good fight. Both of them would stand and bang.
It would be exciting for sure. It'd be fight of the night. Diego Sanchez would get it. Would definitely get another one of those performance bonuses. But I'm concerned about CTE. He
No
talked
doubt.
about it with Ariel Helwani. He's denying that he has it, but you don't have a career that long. You don't have the kind of wars that he's been through and not start feeling and wearing the effects of that.
Absolutely, man. You saw with the recent events of Tony Ferguson. You saw with the antics of Diego during fight week so far.
Yeah,
and
but
you can't
also,
help but be concerned.
You also got to look at someone like B.J. Penn. B.J. Penn has stayed in trouble with the law, and we were looking at a video on Instagram of him fighting a bouncer in Hawaii, and it's like
saw that.
B.J. Penn. There is a real thing, and these fighters are taking way too much damage, and the UFC is letting them continue their careers much longer than what they should.
I could definitely see that in the case of someone like BJ. BJ's taking way too many. There was a fight between BJ and Frankie a couple of years ago when they both coached the Ultimate Fighter, and I knew it after that fight, BJ should probably be done.
Right. So I don't know what's next for Diego Sanchez. If we can definitely get him in the ring with Mike Perry, I'd like to see that bang. But I'm concerned about what's going to happen to him from a health perspective. We're looking at Jan Blachowicz versus Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold is the favorite coming in. You were asking on the live recording what the Vegas odds are.
Were.
So Rockhold is the favorite. I was saying that Jan Blachowicz is a well-rounded fighter, and Luke Rockhold moving up from 185 to 205. That could be a surprising difference in competition for Luke Rockhold.
Not only that, where's Luke training out of as well? I think that definitely makes a difference. Whether or not he's been training with those monsters over at AKA or if he's training somewhere else like in Florida again. I think that makes all the difference, especially dealing with the striking of Jan.
So we've seen Jan Blachowicz, he's beatable definitely, but I've seen fighters move up in weight and their first fight is lackluster and sometimes surprising because they're not used to fighting fighters who can take the punch that used to knock other folks out.
And or fighters who have, yeah, absolutely. That punching power is different at 205 from 185.
Right. And so we see that Jan Blachowicz, we just saw a very interesting rear naked choke with a triangle choke there. Jan Blachowicz doesn't have to just strike with you. He can grapple with you as well.
He's well-rounded.
So I'm excited about this fight. This is going to be a good fight.
So who's your pick again?
Jan Blachowicz. I'm going to go with what I know. I don't know Luke Rockhold at 205.
I'm going with Luke, man. His top game, his ground and pound is relentless. I mean, I just the last fight I just told you, Michael Chiesa channeled his inner Luke Rockhold, and that's what I think we're going to see a lot of in this fight. Takedown, mount, control, ground and pound. Not much in the way of submissions. I'm just going to beat you as much as I can to make the referee stop this fight or make you lose your will to continue.
Okay, well, we will definitely see what happens with that. So while we wait for the fighters to come in, let's talk a little bit about some of the other fights that we haven't gotten a chance to talk about.
Okay.
First of all, they showed that Francis Ngannou is in the audience tonight.
Yes, I saw that.
So Francis Ngannou put Junior Dos Santos down.
Wakanda forever.
That dude, it was 2x buffer factor. So
71 seconds.
Yeah, 71 seconds. So it was a 2x. Junior Dos Santos could have been knocked out twice by the time Bruce Buffer finished announcing that fight.
Wow.
That's how fast that fight was. Speechless. The man
Speechless is not even the word. Like, so with the way the heavyweight division is set up now, Daniel and Stipe are fighting next.
Right.
I don't know if I necessarily want to see the Ngannou rematch with Stipe. I don't see that going much different. I would love to see DC and Ngannou though.
That would be interesting. I think there's a lot of people who want to see it. I just don't think that that's a fight that Daniel Cormier wants.
No, I don't know much of anyone that wants that fight.
Daniel Cormier's got one fight left. He's using it for Stipe Miocic. If he's got another, he says he wants John Jones one more time.
But at heavyweight.
He wants him at heavyweight, but I don't see why John Jones would go up to heavyweight.
If I'm John. John said he's done with DC. There's nothing left for John with DC.
Okay, so on the podcast, previous, maybe, I don't know, a month ago, I talked about a scenario where we could get John Jones and Daniel Cormier at light heavyweight and make it the biggest fight in the history of the UFC.
I definitely could see.
Here's how you do it. It's John Jones versus Daniel Cormier 3 at light heavyweight, but you put both belts on the line. Light heavyweight versus heavyweight champion at 205. So either John Jones walks away with the heavyweight and light heavyweight title, or Daniel Cormier retires light heavyweight and heavyweight champion. That would be the biggest fight in the history of the UFC.
That's an interesting cue up for a fight.
So
both belts on the line, fight at the lighter weight, but both belts are up.
Right, because and this is what I was trying to talk to John Keys about. The championship weight at light heavyweight is 205. You got to make 205. Championship weight at heavyweight is 265.
Right.
So if you've already made the 205, you've already made the 265. So both belts could be on the line.
The sanctioning of that fight would be difficult.
Why?
Typically, the commissions have rules in place where you have to be within a certain amount of pounds in order to be in that division.
But they would have both have weighed in at 205.
Right, but the cutoff for a heavyweight is 205. Anything above 205 is heavyweight. So in order to have both belts on the line, you got it's just not going to work commission-wise. The rules of the commission won't allow them to do it.
I would want to go back and actually look at those rules, because the thing is that I can see how if I'm weighing 265 and you weigh in at 205, they wouldn't allow that to happen. But if I weigh at 205 and you weigh at 205, if I weigh 206, I'm a heavyweight. Mm-hmm. So there's really no difference.
We know this, but what I'm saying is there is a commission, and they're there.
Then we will have this in China. Freaking had that fight in Macau.
And that's the other reason why they created catch weights as well, because of those specific rules.
But if you do a catch weight, then you can't put the belts on the line.
Correct.
So you put the belts on the line at 205, both belts. John Jones could easily make heavyweight. We know this. This would be the biggest fight in the history.
It definitely would be interesting. I'd like to see that, and that's definitely a way to get it on there. I doubt we'd be able to get over to find a commission that would sanction it.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make that my mission. I'm going to start championing the double championship fight.
So speaking of fights, Luke Rockhold is dinner. Buffer's doing his announcements right now, and I noticed Rockhold has something on his leg. It looks like some type of sleeve or something. I wonder, is he hiding some injury? Did something happen here?
All right, just for the recording, you've got
Rockhold,
and I've got Blachowicz. Fight's getting ready to start. We'll be back after these results. All right, we are back. The result: Jan Blachowicz defeats Luke Rockhold by knockout in the second round.
Devastating knockout on top of that.
It was a timber-style knockout, like trees falling in the forest, but everybody heard it.
The only thing I didn't see was Luke Rockhold stiffen up. He might as well have the way he got knocked out.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean...
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, this was surprising. You know, we were talking about it before, that when fighters move up to a weight class, their first fight is always a dicey one, because they've never fought someone that big before, you know, and you never know what's going to happen. And this is what happened. Blachowicz knocked his block off.
Dude, the punching power is just so different between 185 and 205.
Exactly. And so some of the things that we noticed in this fight. Number one, there was a sleeve on Luke Rockhold's leg.
Yeah. So the sleeve got pushed down quite a bit, and you can see there was KT tape.
So talk about that.
I'm fairly certain he was in this fight with an injury.
Okay.
You don't put KT tape on for no reason.
So they were saying that it was possible that this could be maybe a staph infection or maybe some other type of injury, but definitely he was protecting it once Blachowicz started kicking it.
Kicking the leg. We definitely saw he switched stances even. Like I said, the big indicator was the sleeve itself, and then on top of that, the KT under it. So what that makes me think is he was trying to hide something from the commission.
All right. So now let's talk about the fact that Luke Rockhold is traditionally known as a great striker, but what he did in this fight was attempt takedown after takedown after takedown against a guy who's a really good grappler.
And stuffed, and stuffed.
Yeah.
Like there was not one takedown. And Luke looked great at 205. I mean, he was cut up, boulder shoulders. Like, I could see him doing well there. But after this fight, I don't see what he does at 205. If you had a problem with Jan, you got a row of killers at 205.
205 is one of the most competitive weight classes in the UFC. It does not look good for Luke Rockhold, but I don't think he gives it up yet. You know, when Joanna Jędrzejczyk fought Valentina Shevchenko at 125, Dana White was like, go back to 115.
Right.
I don't think that it's a message of go back to 185 for Luke Rockhold.
I think he looked great in some senses.
I just think
but
that
I was really surprised he wasn't able to land a takedown.
I think he's got to get a better tune-up fight. I think he's got to.
The other thing I think is telling is I didn't see his normal camp behind him. I didn't see the guys from AKA. I didn't see Daniel Cormier.
No.
I didn't see anybody from that camp. I could be wrong. Maybe they were there, but that's not who I saw up there. And right. I think the change in camp might be an issue.
He need to go back to Cali, but I don't think so.
I like how you did that.
So now that I'm 2-0.
2-0. You are killing it tonight.
I'm killing it tonight. I got to keep this thing going. Funky, where you at?
I got Jorge, man. I got Jorge Masvidal
versus Ben Funky Askren.
It's going to be an interesting fight. It's either going to be a sleeper, a nap, or it's going to be a very, very interesting fight. Ben can make it a boring fight. Jorge can turn the heat up.
Yeah. Now I said this was going to be a fight of the night. I know I was kind of flip flopping in the pre-show. This is going to be fight of the night. It's going to be exciting. That first round, I think Jorge Masvidal is going to show us something like Robbie Lawler, and then I think we're going to come out thinking that he's going to finish this fight in a second. And then Ben gets to work.
Ben's going to get a hold of him.
He's going to get a hold of him. He's going to start controlling him. He's going to start landing those punches. And we're going to go back and forth. But Ben will win the second. And then Ben is going to gas him out in the third. And he's going to finish this fight on top. 2 rounds to 1.
Okay.
And he's going to make his claim for the title shot.
Like I said, I'm riding with Jorge.
All right. So we're getting ready for that fight. What are some of the other things that have really been shocking in the UFC world? I maybe what I should have done was pull up the run sheet from the 3 weeks that we were off.
Well, I'll tell you what. A lot of people aren't talking about whether or not Jones will come up hot for any picograms.
No one's talked about it, but I expect him to. Like, from now on, I expect him to come up hot. I think the worst thing that could happen for his career right now is that he doesn't continue to come up hot.
So, with that being said, here recently there was the Sean O'Malley fight that got canceled again.
Yeah.
Because he came up hot again for Osterine. And It was a similar thing. When you go to cutting weight, apparently, you're killing these fat cells, and that's I don't know what word to use for it, but it's upping the levels of whatever was in there at some point.
Mm-hmm. Now,
and the testing has gotten so good that they're picking up the minute, smallest pieces of whatever.
Yeah. Now, but this is the thing. So, scientifically, pico, it's a prefix that means trillion.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about grams. I was wrong on the podcast. I said billion, but it's trillion.
That's a lot.
No, that's little.
I know. I'm saying that's a lot.
That's minuscule.
A trillion is a lot. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
I
we're
don't
talking
mean
about
it in the sense of that's a lot in the body.
It's a trillionth of a gram. So when we start looking at what level the Olympic Committee looks at the effects of PEDs, it's usually at the nano, and we're going down to pico. So
that is a very accurate test there.
It's an accurate test, but the question is it giving him a competitive advantage?
No, it's just not. It's not there. 1 pico Think about it like this, man. Out of your entire life and the things that you digest from birth, even, that's basically what this test is able to pick up. You could have been drinking your mother's milk, and this test is so accurate it can go back that well. You get what I'm saying? Like,
I got you. So you know, that's why I'm saying. We don't want. If you're a John Jones fan, you really do want him to pop for picograms, because if he doesn't pop for picograms, then that means he can never pop again.
No, because they've already established that a lot of times it has to do with the body fat percentages. So if your body fat percentages can move one way or other between fights, getting ready for a fight, that can determine whether or not this pops again. And
yeah, I don't know.
I think about it in terms of cutting weight, because when we're cutting weight, we've already gotten our body fat percentage down to it, and then here I am dehydrating myself as well on top of that, forcing my fat cells to do something other than what they're normally used for.
Right.
And that's what makes that bubble up almost.
All right, so Ben Askren is walking out. We want the funk master.
We want the funk. I tell you, I'm giving it to my boy Jorge, though.
Hey, I got Ben Askren in this fight. I think that styles make fights. I think he's a great wrestler. I don't think that Jorge has faced enough wrestlers to be able to make this fight one that he's going to come out on top. But I think we're going to see fireworks. You know, we're just a few days removed from 4th of July. We're going to see some fireworks tonight.
Dad bod supreme.
So, all right. You got Jorge. I got Ben Askren. The fighters will walk into the ring. We will be back after these results. Wow. Oh, my gosh.
5 seconds. Not
5
even
seconds.
that, actually.
2 seconds.
When you really break it down, it just took the referee too long to get over there.
Yeah, it's officially 5 seconds.
1,
2. Yeah, it's really a 2-second knockout, but officially goes down as the fastest knockout in UFC history at 5 seconds.
Dude, Ben Askren was down on the mat so long after that knockout.
This is what we call a stiffy.
His leg was raised in the air, locked tight.
It was locked. His toes were
curled.
His toes were curled. They were crossed. He was praying that he didn't get hit again, but he did like 3 more times.
That was a devastating knockout, man.
Devastating knockout. Like, I'm speechless. I don't have enough words to say what that was. It was unexpected. It was brutal. It was everything that a highlight reel is made of, and that was Ben Askren's first loss in his life.
When Jorge Masvidal walked in the ring to that walkout song,
What did he walk out? The
Scarface anthem.
He said, "Say hello to my little friend. It's my knee."
Man, I could just watch that highlight all night long.
We will, because guess what? It's going to be on every sports,
Instagram,
everything.
Yes.
Oh, I just can't
5
wait for the
seconds.
memes. Oh, man, I thought he was there's a promo for Dana White jumping in with some sharks. I thought he was talking to Ben Askren.
So, if you're Jorge Masvidal, how much is Dana White your friend now that you've taken out his arch nemesis, Ben Askren?
Oh, man, I would be
Did
asking
you see the
for
smile on Dana's face?
Oh, yeah. I would be asking for the world right now. I'd be like, I want Kamaru Usman tomorrow. Set it up.
So Usman is out hurt right now after the surgery.
Yeah, he's sitting in the audience right now. But
so what do we do in this situation as far as 170 fights? You got Tyron Woodley still out there.
You wait. Tyron Woodley can't fight Usman. You can't get that fight to Usman. If I was Dana White, I would let Gamebred wait for Usman to come back, and then that's the fight you set up maybe at the end of the year or Super Bowl weekend. You know, let Tyron Woodley fight Colby Covington. But I think Colby has a fight book now. Colby's fighting somebody, right?
Yeah, you're right. Colby does have a fight
Colby
coming
has
up.
a fight coming up. So yeah, my record, my 2-0 streak is now 2-1.
Just got stopped in 5 seconds.
But I'm happy for Game Bread. That was a great fight. That was great. Great for him. Now we're looking at Valentina Shevchenko. She is quickly becoming one of my favorite female fighters, man. She should do the dance, though. Not the punches. Do the dance. So, yeah, I'm looking to see who
Kobe's going to be fighting.
Kobe's fighting next. Let's check out Sherdog. All right.
Wait a minute. Jermaine Duranemy is still at 135 too?
Yeah, she is.
Okay. I thought she had pulled out.
She pulled out at 145 because she didn't want to fight Chris Cyborg. So I can't find out who. I'm having trouble finding. I have to look it up later. But I think he's got a fight book now. Let's see here. Robbie Lawler. That's who he's fighting.
Okay. That makes.
So, Robbie Lawler versus Colby Covington.
Okay.
Can I say that I'm going for Robbie Lawler twice? So
that 170 division is really thick with those guys out of Florida. You know, when you think about all of them in there, Kamaru, Robbie, Jorge, Tyron, technically, if you go back to the time he was training down there. Who else? There's like one or two other. That 170, whatever is going on in Florida at 170, keep it coming.
Yeah.
5-second knockouts.
That's what we watch. That's why we watch sports for. That's our sport. That's why we watch it. Now we're going to talk about the next fight, the co-main event.
Amanda,
the Lioness.
I call her the headhunter because she is putting heads up on her wall, man.
She got one more head to go.
She does.
And it's Holly Holm.
My heart is pulling for Holly in this, man. I want Holly to win. I know Amanda's going to win this fight. I know this. But I would really like Holly to pull off this upset.
Well, we are going to see what happens. But I will say this. This is going to be a competitive fight.
I think Holly's footwork, her boxing, her movement is going to give Amanda some issues to start out. Amanda's going to start to catch her rhythm and timing. But she's really got to watch out for that head kick from Holly, man. Holly can head kick you from just about anywhere. If she catches an angle on you, she will put a shin upside your dome.
And we know that you don't walk away from that. So my thing is this. You can't chase her. Don't chase Holly. If you chase her, then it opens you up to get that head kick. It opens you up for her to counter you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way she likes to fight. She is a counter fighter, so
so we just saw Betch Kahea. Betch Kahea, another one who caught that head kick. And we had Megan Anderson getting that ground and pound. But these fighters are not Amanda Nunes.
No. And guess where Amanda is fighting out of now? Florida. We just talked about all these great fighters coming out of Florida, man.
Well, we're going to see what happens.
I mean, she's Brazilian. She's from Brazil, but she's fighting out of Florida right now.
So we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. So I got Amanda Nunes in this fight. I think Amanda Nunes gets it done. Round 4, maybe round 5.
I'm pulling for my girl Holly, man.
All right.
I'm hoping Holly catches her with the head kick.
Which, by the way, Amanda Nunes versus Ronda Rousey is one of my favorite highlights.
Just the striking.
Just a striking on display. Ronda Rousey just walking around the ring drunk.
Dude,
40 seconds worth of just masterful striking. So yeah. But yeah, I'm not happy about the Chris Cyborg move. We got to run that one back. I say you fight this one. If she comes out on top, we got to get her back at 145. All right. Oh man, this is what the walkout music for Holly Holm is. I can't think of the name of it. It's classic rock.
I'm not recognizing it either.
Yeah, I don't.
Preacher's daughter.
It's the preacher's daughter. She is jogging out to the ring. This is exciting. I'm really excited about this fight.
I think it's going to be a great fight.
So we're gonna see what happens. All right. So we made our picks. We've talked about what we think should happen. The only thing left to do is to watch this and come back after the results. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, we are back. Amanda Nunes, first round knockout, head kick, kaboom!
Dude, that was a great fight. I mean,
great
as
fight.
short as it was a great. You saw a lot of skill on display from both of those fighters. Patience, the distance control, the setup. I mean, Holly came out and she threw these couple of oblique kicks, almost inside like oblique kicks. And Amanda, basically, she downloaded the information and said, you know what? I'm coming with this right hand kick to the face.
So
She Holly home.
Yeah. She Holly home. You were saying you got to watch that head kick, and that head kick ended up being that head kick.
You're the one that called it, though.
I did. I was saying that Amanda Nunes, because she kept trying to come in with that left jab, and Holly kept rolling. You were saying how Holly kept moving to her right.
Yeah.
And so what would happen is Amanda would throw that left, and Holly would move to the left. I said you should fake that left jab, and then come back with that right head kick.
Yeah.
And she faked the left, came up with the right head kick, and it was over.
And the other part of her setting it up, though, was letting Holly throw the oblique kick.
Yeah.
I think that was the thing that really made Holly drop the hand, because as she's jabbing out with the oblique kick, her hand drops.
Right.
So for Amanda to pick up on that is like some high-level fight IQ.
It sure is. And you saw, too, it's kind of one of those things where I don't know if there's a rule of thumb, and maybe you can speak on this. If you're going to throw it, throw it.
Commit to it.
Because what happened with Holly, and what opened her up for this too, is the fact that she was going to throw the oblique kick. She saw the left hand coming, so she pulled off on it, which the left hand wasn't coming because the head kick was coming.
Yeah.
And I wonder if she would have gone on and thrown that kick.
It would have stopped the kick from coming.
It would have stopped the kick from coming.
Yeah.
Or at least would have taken some
jammed
power
her
off of
leg.
it.
It wouldn't have landed because she would have jammed her base leg would have been stopped, and so there would have been nothing to come with it. There was no way she would have been able to throw it.
So is it fair to say that it is better to get knocked out throwing a punch or a kick that you intended to throw than getting knocked out pulling back on a punch or kick that you were going to throw?
It's like getting caught swinging. Getting caught looking in baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would much rather swing and miss.
Yeah, that's right. I'd rather go down swinging than go down looking.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Amanda Nunes is now clearing out. I think she's cleared out the division. I don't know if there's anybody left at bantamweight.
She, the headhunter, as I call her, she's got Holly Holmes now. She's got Miesha Tate. She's got Ronda Rousey. Who else did she take out?
Chris
Valentina
Cyborg.
twice. Cyborg. Like, she has destroyed all her competition.
Yeah, there really isn't anyone left for her to fight. Now, it goes back to, is she the greatest female fighter in the history of the UFC? Is she the greatest of all time?
I think you made the point to say that the number of title defenses doesn't put her in that category yet. But when you look at her resume, it's hard not to put her there. She's taken out the best of the best.
She
None of the others
has.
have done that.
She absolutely has. But I always go back to, can that be replicated? Because at some point, Amanda Nunes is going to slow down. So there's going to be an upstart that's going to be coming into the division, and she's going to put her own headhunter list together.
Right.
So I don't think you can just look at who she's beat and say she's the greatest of all time. She's a double champ. She won at 145 and 135. That's great resume fodder. But she got to do the last thing to get in that conversation, and that is you got to string those title defenses together.
I can see that.
And if that means going back and trying to find who the next contender is and string them together, Ronda Rousey holds the record right now for female fighters, female champions, at like 8. Joanna Jędrzejczyk has 7. You got Valentina Shevchenko at 125. I don't think there's a soul on this planet weighing 125 pounds that could even hold a candle to Valentina Shevchenko. So Valentina's going to start lining those up. I think Valentina can get that 135. It may be after Amanda Nunes has gone.
That's what I was going to say. Amanda's gotten her twice now.
So it may be after she's gone. But I can see Valentina coming back up and getting that 135 late in her career. So I just think that now it's time to put the pedal to the metal for Amanda Nunes, string together 6 more, 7 more title defenses, and now you've got a complete resume. The last thing you got to do if you're going to be GOAT in my book, now you got to go out into the community. Now you got to leave a legacy and create a funnel, a pipeline of lionesses that are going to come into the UFC and dominate the way you have. You gotta have the legacy. You got to do something outside of the ring that can't be replicated by a younger fighter 20 years from now.
Okay, I can see that.
Because because right now she's the greatest of right now. She's the greatest of our generation. But if you're gonna say all time, you got to do something in your career that can never be duplicated. That's what all time means.
I can definitely see what you're saying. Ronda, for example, she traversed over into mainstream media, mainstream marketing, mainstream
right.
things. Everybody knows who Ronda is.
Right.
My grandmother knows who Ronda is. So
right.
I get what you're saying. My grandmother has no idea who Amanda Nunes is.
Correct. You know, when you think about it, America has always had some kind of hesitation around seeing women fight. But when Ronda Rousey came to the forefront, now you opened up this market where it wasn't just, oh well, I don't like to see women fight. It's what did Ronda Rousey do next? Then you got Ronda Rousey crossing over into the movies. You got Ronda Rousey becoming a face in commercials.
Olympic champion.
Yeah, she's an Olympic champion. Silver medal.
Okay.
Or no, bronze. Bronze. She's Olympic bronze. But the thing is, and now she's in WWE. So Ronda Rousey's legacy is still being made. So if you're going to start talking of all time, you can't just limit it to winning fights because every champion wins fights. All right, we have a main event to talk about.
Speaking of all time.
Of all time.
John Bones Jones.
Johnny Bones. He's another person who carries that lion icon everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
Now he says he can do all things through Christ who strengthens him. That's what's tattooed on his chest, Philippians 4:13. He's got a big test in front of him in Thiago Santos.
I think you're talking this fight up like John is doing.
So, yeah, I kind of am.
Don't get me wrong. I am not hating on Thiago Santos. He is a killer. He's not John Jones level. And the other thing you got to remember, Thiago is stepping up into this weight class. He's fought at 170. He's fought at 185. I think this is his second fight at 205.
I don't know. We can see what the fights were for Thiago Santos. Has he been fighting? How many fights does he have at? I got my man Fahim went to college with me. He's looking up the stats for me right now. How many fights at light heavyweight has Thiago Santos had? So looks like this is his fourth fight, maybe. This is his fourth fight at light heavyweight.
No.
Thank you.
All right.
Fahim with the info. So this is number 4, but he's riding like a 6 or 7 fight win streak right now.
Meanwhile, John Jones is on like a 22 and
yeah.
Let Dana White tell it. No loss. Matt Hamill wants a rematch.
Yeah, one no losses and 1 no contest. Matt Hamill doesn't really count. I don't count it. They were yelling at me on the podcast because I wouldn't count Matt Hamill as a loss. Yes, it is a loss. It is on his record. It is a 1 in the L column. But there was no way Matt Hamill was even close to doing anything. He was fully mounted. He was being embarrassed. Those 12 to 6 hammers. But he landed. John Jones landed 3, 12 to 6. So we're watching Thiago Santos highlights right now, but none of these people have fought John Jones for the title.
So, speaking of Thiago right now, one of the things that he does that John is going to capitalize on, he throws looping hooks. All of his hooks are wide angle.
Right.
And John, with that reach, is going to go straight down the pipe. Tattoo, 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 uppercut.
It's an 8-inch reach advantage that John Jones is walking into this fight with. 8 inches. And that's long.
There's a joke in here somewhere.
Oh, it's a joke. If KC was here, he would say that's what she said. But that's going to be a problem for Thiago's. And I'm not seeing Thiago doing any grappling.
No, we've not seen
John
that.
Jones, outstanding wrestler.
Outstanding.
So there's a lot of ways that John Jones can win this fight. He just got to keep from getting knocked out. That's the only thing he's got to do. Don't let one of these big looping punches land. If it does, then all bets are off.
John can take a punch is the thing we're not talking about. I'm really interested to see how much punching power Thiago really does have at light heavyweight, coming up from 185 and prior to that 170.
He's put some light heavyweights down. I mean, almost every one of his fights are knockouts. So
who was Eric Anders? I think he beat him.
Oh, he blew up Eric Anders. He blew up Jan Blachowicz.
Okay.
And we just saw Jan Blachowicz tonight.
Devastatingly take out Luke Rockhold.
So it can be done. It can be done, yeah. So we're looking at Jimmy Manuel. Got pasted. Thiago Santos got Eric Anders. He pasted Jack Hermanson. I mean, Jack Hermanson, we were talking about him as a guy who's coming up, the Joker. Yep. He's coming up as a fighter, pasted by Thiago Santos.
Okay.
You know, the last time he got beat was back in 2016 versus Eric Spicely by submission. First round submission, and then after that it's just a litany of knockouts and wins. So if he's going to get beat, you got a guy in John Jones who wins by submission.
Yeah.
This should be academic. This could be academic here. It should be. There's no reason why John Jones should lose this fight. He should win this convincingly. But Thiago Santos is a knockout artist. We're going to have to see what's going to happen here.
So who's your money on again?
Johnny Bones, Picogram, Jones.
And by submission or by knockout?
Oh, I think it's by submission, dude. I don't think he's going to finish him, but if he does, it'll be ground and pound TKO.
I'd like to look back at John's history and see, for the record, what he's done to most of the Brazilians he's fought. Because Lyoto Machida choked him out.
Yep.
Who else did he fought from?
Which is crazy because, Lyoto Machida is a karate base, so he's got. Okay, so Anthony Smith, he beat Anthony Smith by decision. You had Alexander Gustafsson, which he beat by TKO. You had the no contest with Daniel Cormier.
We'll call it the head kick no contest.
Yeah. He beat Ovince St. Preux. Because remember, there's long periods of time where John Jones didn't fight because he was suspended.
Yeah.
Then we got the decision victory over Daniel Cormier, going all the way back to 2015. So, there's not a lot of Brazilians who've made it to this level to fight John Jones.
Thiago is tied for the second most knockouts in UFC history. He got 11 knockouts according to.
Well, let's see if he can break that record tonight. Now, last thing before we make our final call for the main event, I gotta say, I would much rather have a big hammer tattooed on my chest than that BS tattoo that Brock Lesnar has.
What is the one that Brock has?
Brock has this sword with a big old hilt, and then the blade of the sword is going through his throat. Yeah. So you don't even see the tip of the sword. I would rather have the hammer than that Brock Lesnar
looks like a little short sword too.
It's a sword that has like the brass knuckles. It's a goofy looking sword. It's an ugly tattoo.
And John Jones is making his walk to the arena.
John Jones walking out to We Are the Champions. Oh, man. All right.
You know, there's something to be said when you see a fighter who's almost happy walking into the ring, like jovial, like I'm about to get it off. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Walking out to that Freddie Mercury, the Queen. Here we go. He didn't even have the headphones on like he normally does.
The champ is here.
Man, he's kind of like Conor now. You know how Conor walks out, starts off to Foggy Dew, and then it cuts to
B.I.G.
Yeah.
Notorious.
There you have it. Okay, so you got John Jones?
Absolutely.
I got John Jones. Fahim's got John Jones. Leah. She is the contrarian.
Leah is taking the other guy.
Going with the underdog, Thiago Santos.
You can make a lot of money if you bet on him and he wins tonight.
Oh, yeah. He's like a sub 900, right? All right. So that's it. We'll be back after these results. All right. So we have the results, and John Jones is still the UFC light heavyweight champion, having won by split decision over Thiago Santos.
Most boring fight of the night.
Most boring fight of the night.
But it is what it is. I still don't understand one of those judges scoring that fight for Thiago.
You know, Thiago had the more powerful-looking strikes. Like John Jones was consistently landing strikes.
I don't agree. That
you looked
elbow,
at powerful,
that knee.
Yeah, but that's like round 2 and round 3.
I saw nothing flush land for Thiago.
Round 1, I felt like Thiago Santos did a little bit more than John Jones. Round 5, I felt like Thiago Santos did a little bit more than John Jones. I could see how maybe a ref thought round 4 might have gone a little bit for Santos, or I don't know if round 2. But I had it 3-2. John Jones, rounds 2, 3, and 4 for him. I had rounds 1 and 5 for Thiago Santos. So I wouldn't have agreed with the judge to say that that Thiago Santos won. But sometimes rounds are close, and if a round is close.
The story of that fight was Thiago continuing to fight on that heavily damaged leg.
Oh my gosh, there were so many times where Thiago Santos' leg buckled underneath him, and he kept throwing power kicks, leg kicks, head kicks. He kept throwing power punches. I mean, that was a valiant effort on Thiago Santos' part.
I've torn an ACL before, man. I don't think there's any way I could have fought on a freshly torn ACL. The first time I tore my ACL, my body went into shock.
What was it during a game? Was it during a fight, or was it during practice?
No, I was actually playing basketball.
Oh. Well, there's something about being in the octagon in a championship fight with John Jones across from you that adrenaline will do a lot for blocking pain receptors.
I'm just saying that I've experienced that before. That is a nasty injury. The average person is shutting down right after that.
Oh, that's me right there.
Your body goes into shock. I mean, I remember I threw up almost immediately.
Oh, wow. So, John Jones is still the light heavyweight champion. Where does he go from here?
I don't know, man. That light heavyweight division has some new contenders in there. There's a lot of new faces. So he's got some things to clear out. But we'll see.
All right, so John Jones is going to have to. John Jones is gonna have to figure out what he's gonna do next. I think he waits for Daniel Cormier and see what happens after Stipe Miocic, and see if they can't make one last go at this for the money, because it's not to prove anything. I mean, John Jones is proven.
John has no interest in that fight.
Money may say something different. That's a huge fight. People want to see that one more time. Run it back one more time. Can you send Daniel Cormier into the sunset of his career with 3 losses against you? The only guy he has never beaten. That's a legacy.
You remember Cormier actually said he was going to retire after his birthday.
I remember him saying that, but Brock Lesnar didn't come back.
So
he had to get that fight, so he's getting Stipe.
What you're saying is he's in it for the money.
He wants the money.
All right.
And he said that if he beats Stipe, he's going to see if he still wants one more. I think he will.
I'll tell you whose stock went up tonight, though, is Thiago.
Yes.
It wasn't a pretty fight by no means. It was boring. But for him to continue on with that kind of injury, man, that speaks volumes. John's being carried out.
John caught some leg kicks. John caught some major leg kicks. And he got those skinny bird legs. So, that's the tough part. All right, let's wrap this up. So we had to start off the night with Michael Chiesa dominating Diego Sanchez
via his Luke Rockhold impersonation,
and then Luke Rockhold did an impersonation of a tree trunk falling in the forest.
Luke, body-wise, looked great at 205. I hope he gets another fight or two there before we decide whether or not he needs to go some other division.
Yeah.
But his opponent, Jan, I really like. I think his stock went up on that fight 100%. As well.
Now, I said that the next fight of the night was going to be fight of the night. I didn't expect it going this way, though.
It was fight of the night.
I mean, technically, I predicted it because I said Jorge Masvidal was going to come out in the first round and do some amazing stuff. There's going to be fireworks. Seconds. I just didn't know it was going to be one big nuclear bomb, and that was it.
Man, that is going to be highlight of the year. On top of that, I'm sorry for my curse word friendly.
Almost had to beep you out there.
On the noise talker, Ben Askren.
Yes. So after that, we had Amanda Nunes versus the preacher's daughter, Holly Holm.
That was another beautiful ending to a fight.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, talk about just knocking her down and just.
She Holly Holm.
She Holly Holm. And then the main event of the evening, John Bones Jones defeated a limping Thiago Santos.
Thiago's stock definitely went up off that fight, though. I would be a lot more interested to see him fight again once he recovers.
Right.
And it appears John has some injuries, too.
They may have to run this one back maybe next year. I'd love to see that a Thiago Santos, too.
Okay.
But now we look forward to 240. I don't know who's fighting on 240. I probably should have looked that up before I mentioned it. But, so, what do you give it? On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give 239?
I'll give it a solid 8. The highlight of the night, again, was Jorge Masvidal and Ben Askren. The John Jones fight was ho-hum for the most part. Don't get me wrong, these are great athletes. They put in the work, but he was fighting against a damaged athlete. So I can't, we didn't really get to see everything that those two were capable of. The Amanda Nunes fight was great. I would have liked to seen it have gone longer. Like I said, somebody Holly Holm.
There you go.
And then I think the fight from earlier, Jan Black. How do you pronounce it? His stock definitely went up, man. I want to see him again as well.
All right, so we're looking forward to July 27th.
Okay.
UFC 240, headlining Max Holloway versus Frankie the Answer Edgar.
I'm going with Max on that.
You don't have to pick it yet.
I'm just letting you know.
And then you got Chris Cyborg in the co-main versus Felicia Spencer, Canadian 7-0.
So Cyborg's taking a fight.
Last fight of her contract.
This is really weird that they haven't made that rematch between her and.
We'll see.
All right.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining me. As always, it's a pleasure to have you on the mic.
Likewise, thank you for having me.
All right. We're coming to you live from Austin Avenue Bar and Grill in Plano, Texas. This is Ryan Smith for George G. Money Stallworth, wishing you to keep your hands up, your chin tucked, and throw bombs. We will catch you this month, July 27th, for another live recording We'll catch you next time.